Hey, it's Emma here with Super Sensitive Human, and I'm here to give you a little update on my life this week. It's not going too well because my car died recently, a few days ago, and so I'm kind of stranded here at my house in rural Rimrock, Arizona with no transportation. This is my '99 Honda CR-V, which you may remember from other videos, such as when I went to Flagstaff, I talked about getting a new engine for it, and that is fine, that part's fine, but everything else, not so good. I guess I got the engine in June, so June, July, August, September, October, now it's November. 5 months I got to drive it. I spent about $800 to get it fixed, so I guess I basically rented a car for 5 months for $850 or so. Not that bad because I drove it all the way to Vancouver, Canada and back, which was like 80 hours of driving or something crazy like that. But let me tell you what's wrong with the car, and then I think you'll agree with me that I need a new one. Problem number one, the headlight. The headlight's missing because I got a flat tire in Nevada that blew out the headlight, and exploded all this area, stripped off this trim here, all the way back along. There's supposed to be a piece of trim along here. Totally displaced the whole piece of metal here. You see what a big gap this is? That's blown out there. So I didn't even bother to replace the headlight because I don't really drive it at night. I hadn't replaced that yet, and I don't even know what components it would need to have to be replaced because I'm not sure if how many wires got torn out and how much of this stuff got broken that would need to be there for the headlight to fit in right. Problem number two. Well, the brake fluid started leaking more and more, and it was underneath here. You can't really see anything, can you? Because it's too dark. Anyway, it's rusted underneath there. Toward the back of the car, brake fluid is all leaking out of the lines, and I was gonna get a fitting for that. So basically, driving around with no brakes for a week, waiting for a fitting for that, when this other thing happened with the transmission, which I don't know what happened. The transmission, something must have happened here in the front of it, because all the fluid like exploded out all over that whole car. It was all drippy all over the whole bottom, like a 2x4 foot area. But I think it was in the front because there's still puddles like up here in the bumper. So it must have gotten there somehow. It's all puddled up in the bumper. I don't know where the leak came from though. But it wasn't really a leak. It was more like some kind of explosion. Here, it's pretty dark, but you can see the bottom of my transmission. Here, this is all JB welded together from before, but that's not the part that broke. This is from when I hit a rock and it cracked it. But that part's holding just fine. There's no leaks in that part. Fourth problem is when I had these new shocks put in here, he told me that the control arms on the car were rusty and that my tires would just fall off someday, and I couldn't get a new one because it was too rusty to attach. So, problem number 5, the engine oil has a leak in it also, which is that puddle there. So, you'll probably agree with me after seeing these problems that I need a new car. You might be wondering what I'm doing in Rimrock without a car. How am I gonna survive? Because we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. You can't get to a grocery store or anything. There's a little bit of food at the gas station. There's like some lettuce and limes and tortillas and carrots, bananas sometimes. But other than that, no food. How will I get a new car? Well, you might have seen in other videos the white truck. That was Nick's truck. He used to live here. He doesn't live here anymore because he bought his own house. But he lives about 15 minutes away now, so he can help me if I really need help. Mostly because I work and do school and vlog and everything from home. I don't need a car that bad. I've been getting my food delivered because I'm lazy like that. I've been getting these paleo meals. So I have like probably 10 days worth of those left, luckily. I have all my water jugs filled because we need to, the tap water here sucks, so we need to get tap water from the reverse osmosis machines or go to the spring that's in another one of my videos. Spring water in Sedona, check it out. So the main thing, got my food, got my water. The main thing I need the car for is to walk the dog, which sounds weird because why don't I just walk the dog instead of drive the car to walk the dog? But the reason for that is that I don't like to carry the leash. I'm kind of a big baby about the stress of carrying the leash with the dog pulling on it and the dog sniffing and the dog barking, and she doesn't like being on a leash either. Stresses me out, stresses her out being on leash. You know how dogs are. If you walk 1 mile, they walk like 3 miles for every one that you do because they're running back and forth. She's a really big, energetic dog. She needs lots of exercise. It's way better that way. And I just like to be out in the middle of nowhere. Just let her run and let me just walk along free and easy, listening to my podcast, jogging, whatever I want to do. Way better for both of us that way. It's probably one of the reasons that I like living out in the middle of nowhere is because I get to just go walk in the desert. I don't run into anybody. I feel like it's a failed walk if I run into somebody. I've failed. I've chosen the wrong place. It's a bad sign if I keep running into people. So I really do, you might notice from my videos, not like people that much. Like I've had this is kind of like my whole life is just like having problems with people. And I really just like to be out where there's nobody so I can just be free, expand my energy, expand my aura really big, and not worry about anything. So like as much as I complain about being lonely, I really do like to be alone. You know, I like to have like one main partner, like a boyfriend, but even that's kind of stressful sometimes. What was my point here? My point was, Mercy and I like to walk alone in the desert, and sometimes I feel like I would like to move somewhere where there's like, I live in a town and I can walk down the street to like go to the store or go to a juice bar or something, because I don't go to coffee shops. It has to be a juice bar, so I have to like live in Malibu or something. But it is kind of a problem that I have this big like unruly dog who likes to bark at other dogs and snarl and pull at people, and I'm sure that that problem could be solved with some proper dog training, but I just don't have the like physical, mental capacity for it right now. I'm sure if I had more energy that wouldn't seem like a big problem, but the way it is, it seems like kind of a big problem, and that keeps me wanting to be where I am and live where I live. So it's interesting that I have this like big unruly dog instead of like a little lower energy dog, because it just reminds me of this thing that my friend Michael said once about how people like unconsciously reinforce the same patterns that they have always had, and he was specifically making fun of my tendency to be reclusive and secretive and be alone, because he liked to pick on me for that. And he was pointing out that I was in like this warehouse with a bunch of artists, so they're like graffiti artists and stuff, and I had this project that I was working on that was a gourd that I was wood burning. In order to wood burn it, I had to be hooked up to the electricity, so I had to go sit in the corner by myself by the wall so I could plug into electricity and do my wood burning away from everyone, because that was my chosen art, and everybody else's chosen art was putting them together and mine was putting me away. So he was just pointing out how that was maybe subconsciously some kind of patterning. Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but reminds me of it sometimes when I have this dog that also reinforces this pattern of isolation. So anyway, I mean, not having a car right now is not the biggest problem in the world. My biggest problem, not the biggest problem in the world, but my biggest problem around a car is deciding what new car to get, what style, what model, it's given me like a huge identity crisis, because I can't quite see myself in a lot of cars, and I don't know, I'm kind of like just not sure what car fits my identity right now, because it used to be a lot easier, because I used to want like a lifted four-wheel drive one when I first moved here so that I could go everywhere and explore everywhere. And then Nick got the truck and we started doing some off-roading, more off-roading, and I kind of got to go to the places that I really wanted to go, and then I got over that and kind of got over the whole thing, because all that bumping, and it's just like really stressful on my nervous system and kind of make me want to vomit, and I just didn't like it as much as I thought that I would, and I'm over it. So I still drive on dirt roads a little bit though, and I still do go exploring. Like I would like to go out to some hot springs and stuff that are far out, but that's not like, that might be like 2 days a year that I'd need like a really rugged vehicle, and maybe I can just, you know, use Nick's truck, or maybe I'll meet somebody else that has a rugged vehicle. So it's not the biggest thing anymore. Like I back then I wanted like a little Nissan or Toyota, like 90s kind of, 80s 90s kind of small truck, like two-wheel drive, but I don't know if that's necessary anymore, although I do like the smaller aspect. I kind of like don't want something really, really big, but maybe I just don't need like maybe I just want a passenger car. Maybe I just want something that gets like 38 miles a gallon. That'd be nice, because I hate going to the gas station. Gives me chemical sensitivity every time I pump gas. I like cars with a little bit of style, like a little classic older car, but I can't afford like a restored classic car, so it'd have to be like a shitty classic car, and then it might just have a whole bunch of problems, and it probably wouldn't look very nice, and yeah, I don't really like things rickety and bumpy and rattly and wind coming in through the windows. I kind of want it to be quiet and smooth again, because my nervous system's easily rattled. So basically I have no idea what kind of car to buy. Like, just totally lost, no clue. I'm just kind of like hoping that something will come to me, or something will show up right nearby. There's a car lot up the road that's just like the lot where people park their cars for sale. There might be like 5 there at a time sometimes, and that's within walking distance, so I can go up there and look, and maybe something really cool will show up there, and I'll just know it's the one because it's got like some sticker or something that's meaningful to me. So let me know in the comments, give me a suggestion, let me know what kind of car you see this girl here stepping out of. It's kind gonna help me out a lot. It's even in my dreams what kind of car to buy. I dreamed that I was singing this Brian Jonestown Massacre song that's about a girl, but I was making it about a car, and it goes, which car is the right one, the perfect one for me? If I glanced in its direction, would I know which one it'd be? So, it's on my mind. But then like just this like rickety train in Williams went by, like the Grand Canyon train went by, but it was like all rickety and weird, so that didn't answer the question of which car. I can't buy a rickety train for my transportation, so.
Which girl is the right one, is the perfect one for me?